Hey, let's go. Welcome to the Gamma Wave podcast. This is the next episode in the series, and in this episode, we're actually going to get right to it with all the different topics. So, hope you're ready. This is something brand new, so I'm excited. Let's get after it. All right, so welcome to the Gamma Wave podcast, the second of hopefully many to come. And yeah, we're gonna go right into recording. So first, I just want to welcome you to the show. And if you didn't check out the last episode, I'm gonna encourage you to go back and just kind of take a peek at what that last episode was. It'll help you kind of get your bearings for what to expect in the episodes to come. And if I can just give you a brief overview of Gamma Podcast or the Gamma Wave Podcast, you have it's an acronym. So Gamma, the G, gaming, anime, movies, music, arts. So you break that down, that's Gamma, and we're not just talking about those particular categories or topics. We're also going to look at health and wellness and nutrition and personal growth through the lens of those topics we just mentioned. So, something very unique. I'm hoping to bring a fresh perspective to conversations on health. So, that's Gamma Wave in a nutshell. More about nuts later, since we're going to be talking about nutrition. So, before we get right into the show, I guess like the main course of the show, I want to be able to give you, I guess, what to expect. So basically, the segments are as follows. So first segment will typically be what we call the Gamma Vision. So my goal or my aim for Gamma Vision, the Gamma Vision segment, is to talk about something that relates to personal growth, something that we could apply in our daily lives, and use that to make sure that we're aiming in the right direction as far as like being our personal best. So that's Gamma Vision. We have to see things in the way that help us get to our end goal. I'm thinking of Neo right here. He has the code vision. I'm probably messing up the name of it, but he has like the code vision where he can see all the agents, see the world around him in a certain way that allows him to be successful. Think of Gamma Vision the same way. Gamma Vision is enlightenment, it's insight to help you move forward efficiently and effectively. So that's Gamma Vision. The other part will be nutrition focused, and that's titled Our Daily Senzu Bean. So if you know about the Senzu Bean, if you're a follower of Dragon Ball Z, you know that the Senzu Bean recovers your energy, it heals wounds. Even if you're like on the brink of death, you pop a Senzu Bean, you just pop back up. Um, my goal with the Our Daily Senzu Bean segment is to help. I mean, it's not going to be as, I guess, exaggerated as the anime Dragon Ball Z was, but something close to it, hopefully. Hopefully, we're able to get you that boost, just that uplift and energy and just feeling the best that you can. And that all comes from food. So, I'm going to give you some insights there. By the way, if I haven't mentioned, my name is Caleb. I'm a registered dietitian. I talk about nutrition. And that's what I do. But I'm also going to talk about some other things here too and kind of merge them and fuse them all together. So that is the daily Senzu Bean. And then finally, we'll look to wrap up most podcasts with the Haki Grounding. So the Haki Grounding is, I want you to think of it like recentering yourself, finding that balance and centering yourself. You can look at it like within yourself mentally, spiritually, whatever your choice is, but think of it as you're aligning yourself with what's the highest, best version of what you're really working towards, which can be a struggle. We all struggle with different things. Sometimes uh, that other side comes out. Sometimes we have to check someone, or we have to check ourselves. Sometimes we have to be able to maintain balance, and that's what Haki Grounding is. We're able to harness our best self and move forward. So those are the main courses we have lined up for today's and our ongoing episodes of Gamma Wave. Before we get into all that, it's September 17th. It's been almost a week since Demon Slayer Infinity Castle came out, and I wanted to get your thoughts. Like, what did you think of the new Demon Slayer movie, Infinity Castle? I'll tell you, for me, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie, and I think I'm gonna go back and watch it again. And then you're looking at some of the online comments. I always like to see, like, what do other people think? I thought it was good. What do other people think too? It seems like the online crowd, they liked it. It seems like there's feedback about, and okay, we're trying to do a spoiler free zone, but I'm gonna give you a time stamp. So starting right now at whatever time I put on the screen, and then I'll tell you, like, hey, fast forward to this time, and you'll fast forward to the end of the spoiler section. So I'm gonna give you time to leave because I want to respect that if you haven't seen it yet. I don't want to spoil it for you, so you got a couple seconds. Okay, so anyways, some of the comments or feedback about Demon Slayer Infinity Castle was that the Kaza storyline, the backstory, really dragged, and I can see how people could see that. I don't think it took away from the movie. I think it just gave it another dynamic to appreciate it from. I think, and this is coming from a person who hasn't read the manga, and I probably won't because I just want to watch the anime and what's on screen, and that's my choice. Don't come for me in the comments. But I imagine, like, when it's all said and done, we get all the way to the conclusion of Demon Slayer, we're actually going to look back at this Infinity Castle Part 1 and have a greater appreciation for it. That's what I think will happen because, this is, we're building up to the climax. So, we have to be patient, and kind of savor what we have while we have it. So definitely, I would say, let's see, love the music. I would say let's see, what was my favorite part of the movie? Okay, more spoiler alerts. I thought it was so. I'm like, this, like, Tanjiro was pulling a total Naruto when, like, he had the drop on Akaza and he had, fallen off his radar. And what does he do? He's like sneaking up on him. I'm like, oh, he's about to go for the silent kill. If you're a fan of Halo 4, you know about the assassination graphic. I was like, oh, we're about to get a really sick assassination graphic. And what does Tanjiro do? He's like, hey, yo, what's up? And I was like, oh, man, like, I'm in the theaters, like, my boy, what are we doing? You have the drop. This is the upper 3. You got to take your opportunities when they come. But it worked out well. I think, it was just one of those moments that you're not going to forget. It's like, what are we doing? So, all right, enough about that. I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about the Demon Slayer? What parts did you really enjoy? What parts did you feel left a little bit to be desired? So let me know in the comments, and we'll get going to our Gamma Vision. So I have notes and stuff. I'm looking around. Still new at this. So, okay. So for today's Gamma Vision, the theme is be mindful of what we consume, being mindful of what we eat, what we entertain, things like that. So I'll let you take that in for a second. And the parallel I want to bring up is Majin Buu. If you remember Majin Buu, when things kind of got really, really crazy towards the end of that saga, he's absorbing like Z fighters. Seems like left and right. He absorbed, you know, Goten and Trunks. He, absorbs Gohan. He's, in the past he absorbed one of the Kais. So why am I bringing this up? Well, because, from a nutrition standpoint, if you incorporate the healthy nutrients, you build a healthier profile for yourself health wise. And the same can be true for the opposite. If you're not incorporating key nutrients, you're going after the fast food or lower quality nutrients, that affects your labs. It affects your ability to fight off disease and illness. All that matters. And looking beyond just even the nutrition component, also, what are you entertaining in your space? What are you consuming as far as like the people that are around you? Like, I feel like people can rub off on you. And so if you remember Boo, he took after the physical traits of the people that he absorbed, right? So after he absorbed Gohan, he has like the gi, and he looks just like Gohan, but he's pink. And so I bring that up because I think it's important to protect yourself in a way and guard yourself. Sometimes the people that are in our circles, the people that we entertain in different conversations, whether it's text or phone calls or wherever the case may be on different apps, even who you allow on your feeds, that's literally something that is like, not to use a low hanging fruit pun, but your feed is a part of what you feed on, mentally, emotionally, that can affect you in all those different ways. And I know you realize that. I'm just here to, again, we're talking about the gamma vision. It's one thing to see it. It's one thing to, be able to act on different things. So that's a part of today's gamma vision. And the takeaway message is just overall being mindful of everything that you consume. And for me on a personal end, I'm very mindful of what I watch. I'm very mindful of the things I listen to, the conversations I'm around, especially at work. I like to refer to myself as work-related Wilson, because if the conversations aren't on topics that are work-related, I'm probably going to dismiss myself. And I also don't share things too personal because sometimes there's foolishness in these conversations, and it's not doing anything to benefit me. It's kind of like the equivalent of junk food, but it's okay. We got some storms going on here, so that's why I'm kind of pausing. Like, is that a car revving up or what's going on? So hopefully you don't hear all that disturbance, but that's what I'm distracted by. So yeah, you have to be able to lock in and just focus on the things that are most important to you. Doing so will allow you to reach greater levels of peace and just avoiding stuff that you don't need to be involved with. You're going to have less chaos in your life. There's already enough chaos in life to begin with. You don't need to go inviting more. So that's today's Gamma Vision. Let me know what you think about that in the comments, and how you will, apply that in your life, or, maybe there's some opportunities to do that yourself. So that's Gamma Vision. Next, and since we're on the topic of Dragon Ball Z, I think the Buu saga was fine, but it wasn't my favorite saga. I think it was cool. We got some cool transformations and cool things. I would say up to the world tournament. I mean, I kind of go back and forth because the Buu saga does have that Vegeta character arc, and Vegeta is one of my favorite characters. But sometimes I feel like they left some things. Uh, I don't know, just it kind of left some things. The Frieza saga, pre and post, and leading into the Android saga, to me that is so smooth. I can go back and watch that from Goku's arrival in Namek all the way through Cell's defeat, and just keep watching on an endless loop. I feel like it's perfect. But I digress. Let's get into our daily Sensu bean. All right, so that's our daily Sensu bean drop. Get used to hearing that. So, our daily Sensu bean. Since we're talking about nutrition, it's only right to start off this segment, the very first one, talking about beans. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about beans. Beans are a powerhouse food, really high in a lot of key nutrients. So let's first talk about the overall nutrient profile. So beans, you're going to have your carbohydrate, of course, but not only that, you're going to get a really solid amount of protein. And so protein, I can just think of my different colleagues, or Caleb, you're so focused on protein. I'm like, yeah, protein is very important. Most people don't get enough. I also make sure you get enough fiber, and that's the next thing that beans offer is a whole lot of fiber. So to me, you need the beans, you need the protein and the fiber. Those two go hand in hand. Helps with just a smooth exit, digestively speaking. If you go too high in the protein and you're skimping on the fiber, you're gonna have a hard time. So I'm all about fiber with protein, super important. I'll probably post the daily recommendations over here somewhere. Um, Not only do you get those, basically all the big macronutrients, you also get important minerals and micronutrients that are just essential for recovery, for sleep. They're good sources of magnesium. So this can be like most legumes, but they're gonna have a good amount of magnesium, and magnesium is gonna help with your sleep. And if you're able to get good sleep, guess what? That's gonna help with your recovery. So any of you guys out there working out, trying to train like a Saiyan, I remember those shirts. They still make them, but it's like train like a Saiyan. If you're training super hard and you're not getting the recovery nutrients, and you're also not getting the recovery from sleep, you're missing out on those gains. So make sure you're getting the proper fuel, the proper recovery, and the nutrients to help support recovery with the power of the reality, or the real sensu bean in real life. So we're looking at the pinto bean. That's one of my favorites. It's a very nostalgic. I can just remember, mom making them, my wife, my mother-in-law. They all have their ways of making them. Just like I'm a big fan. Put some cheese on it. Eat it with the tortilla. Have it with, some other just real good soul foods. So that's really good stuff. What are your favorite ways to enjoy the pinto bean? Let me know in the comments. What are some of your favorite ways to enjoy just like beans in general? Beans and dip is okay. I'm not the dietitian that's going to judge if you're doing beans and dip, or you're doing the bean burrito or something like that. You're like, hey, you just mentioned all the Mexican foods. Well, I live in Arizona. I grew up on Mexican food. So those foods they hold a special place in my heart. So that's why I'm mentioning them. So I would like to know how you like to enjoy your, your beans. Yeah, full of flavor, full of energy. And I would encourage you to get, to work those into your diet pattern, whatever that diet pattern is for you. 1 cup of beans can give you about 15 grams of fiber and about 15 grams of protein, which is pretty great. So for women, we're looking to get, up to 20, 25, even, if you can get up to 30 grams of fiber a day, that's great. You don't need to go higher than that. It's kind of overkill. For us men, we definitely need to hit at least 30 and get up to close to 40 grams of fiber a day. That's just going to help keep things going smooth. It's going to help lower blood pressure, blood sugar, and they're healthy for you. So, and a dietitian said eat them, so you should eat them. All right, so moving from our daily Senzu bean, again, we're going to try to keep this podcast nice and short. We're going to move to our Haki Grounding, a little bit of reflection and centering. So let's get ready for that. Oh, I hit the drop twice. I guess we need to double up on it. So I wanted to share a story about, since we're talking about being mindful of what you eat or what you consume, even things that are not technically food, but you can still be influenced by them. I also want to talk about protecting your energy as well. So, I'm going to tell this story without telling certain information, but I'm going to just tell it like it is pretty much. So, I was looking to buy a particular camera, the camera I'm using to record this podcast. Went to a local store because they have it in stock. I want to go check it out. Let's make the drive and go check it out. So I go in, I go to the counter, and I'm just waiting in line. Pretty standard stuff so far. And when it's my turn to get served or have some help, the guy behind the desk is gives me some attitude that I don't think I was deserving of. I was really excited to check out the camera, and he just, with this low kind of, to me it was disrespectful. I'm just gonna say that, it was a disrespectful tone, what do you want, what do you need, kind of thing. And I was like, all right. And so I was in a great mood. I had the day off, and I wasn't gonna let that make my day go downhill, because I was like, I could really go back and forth. But before I even got to all that, so I was like, I try to give him a chance to, just kind of see where he's at. Maybe he's having a day that's not the best day. So he says that, and then I was like, hey, how are you doing? You okay? I just want to check in on him, because I didn't think that how he greeted me and acknowledged me was something that I deserved. And I was basically like, hey, what's up? If you're having a bad day, I'm all ears. I have the day off. Like I said, I can hear what your frustration is about, and then we can go forward with our day. So he continues to just double down with that, and he's not, and he doesn't have to share anything with me. That's none of my business. However, the business that matters to me is the disrespect at the initial greeting, or the lack thereof of greeting. So after he doubled down, I was like, hey, I would like for someone else to work with me. And I could just see his face just go pale. The color had basically left his entire face, and he was just okay. And that was me protecting my energy. For me, I'm pretty empathetic, so I tend to be considerate of others and just want to make sure they're okay. I'm not going to go into detail on all that, but we're all humans going through different things in life, and we're not all going to be happy and skipping across the sidewalk every day. However, there should be a minimum level of respect, human to human, and I don't feel like I got that. the proper treatment and proper respect. So another clerk comes up. She's very friendly. She's helping me with what I need. I'm checking out the camera, all that. And then, yeah, so there's more to the story, but I'm going to leave it right there because basically the takeaway message is you never know what's kind of lurking around the corner that could disrupt your state of positivity and like where you are. So and you have to be able to protect yourself at a moment's notice or step up for yourself in a moment's notice to make sure that you're maintaining that feeling throughout the day. That's something that's important to me. Hopefully that's something that's important to you as well. Having to, maintain like a certain sense of like, I'm not saying you have to be positive all the time, but I think just having a certain level of protecting your energy, like I said, your energy is going to kind of take its journey throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. So, for me, it was a decision to not let my energy be disturbed, especially that early in the morning with some nonsense. So that's my Haki grounding. That was something that I did in real time to, recenter myself. Again, I think I did a okay job of trying to look out for a fellow human, fellow man to see like, hey, like what's going on? Because, man to man, I feel like if you say that not on the clock, like we're definitely having some more words because that just wasn't a cool way to interact. And then let alone to have that happen while you're representing, your company. I feel like, okay, now we have some other things going on. So, takeaway message, I want you to reflect on, what are some ways that you can control your environment, the people, or you can't control the people, but how can you set up boundaries in your environment so people can know like, hey, like you've crossed the line on this and, that's not cool with me. I want you to think about that. That's something that can definitely protect your peace. Your peace is priority. So you need to be able to protect that because that leads into stress. And so with this podcast being about health and wellness and personal growth, stress is going to happen. I'm not saying stress is something you can just get rid of entirely, but there are ways to limit the stress. So that's all I'll be talking about there. So, I want you to let me know how I did in the comments. If you like this video, like this podcast rather, leave a like, share, definitely subscribe. Looking to get the subscriber count up. Let's work to get to 50 subscribers. I think right now I'm at 31, 32. Let's get to 50. That's our milestone. And yeah, we'll go from there. So, this is Caleb from the Gamma Wave signing out. Episode 1. We'll be back with another episode next week. So stay tuned.